What is up, YouTube? Andrea here, back with another video. You know, we chillin', wearing a sweater that says my name because I'm a dork. Anyways, today's video is gonna be a story from when I turned 20 years old. So a lot of you may know, a lot of you might not know. I may look like I'm 5, but actually I'm 20 years old, going on to 21 this year. But anyways, yeah, today's story is gonna be from when I turned 20. It was really hectic and wild, and you guys might think it's funny, even though it wasn't that funny for me, but it's probably funny for you guys. Anyways, let's just hop into this video. Pretty well. It started off normal. Everything started off good, and I ended up going to my best friend's house to pre-drink before going to the club. So while we were pre-drinking, my boyfriend was smoking some pot, and my best friend decided, you know, I'm gonna join in and smoke some pot too. I, however, do not like to smoke pot when we go out to parties, just because I feel like I shouldn't like blend alcohol and weed at the same time. It doesn't sit well with me. However, I'm okay with whoever does it, and I'm okay if my friends do it. Like, you do it, you have fun, have a good trip. But basically, yeah, so my boyfriend and my best friend were smoking pot before heading to the club. We were waiting for an Uber, you know, we were just chilling. I started noticing that my best friend, she was taking so many hits, like she was going like crazy, and I was like, oh my god, like this girl's gonna get way too fucked up and too high, and then when we drink she's gonna get like crazy. So I'm like, let me just warn her that maybe she shouldn't take too many hits, or she should just settle down. So I started telling her, listen, you need to settle down a bit, because I don't want you to get too crazy, like right off the bat. Like, the night's young, the night has just started. And she was like, okay, yeah, I understand, no problem. So she stopped smoking, and we hopped in the Uber, and we headed off on our way. So anyways, we were at the club. We were having a nice time, just dancing, having a couple drinks. We actually bought a bottle from the club, and it was actually really expensive. It was like $200. Part where this story gets interesting is because my friend is not a lightweight, and she can handle a lot of drinks. Okay, she is a trooper. She is so good at not getting drunk. Like, in general, she tries to get drunk, but just doesn't. Like, it's the weirdest thing. She has a high tolerance. So anyways, she had drank maybe like 5 or 4 drinks, and I was starting to notice that she was getting very sloppy. She would hold her drink and then 2 seconds later spill some of it out. Like, she was just getting crazy and wild, and it was a lot of fun to see her in that state. It was actually really funny, but at the same time, it was kind of a concern, because I was like, oh my god, like, we've just got here, it's only been a couple of hours, and she's gone. And I was concerned for my own safety, because I was like, Jesus, like, she usually takes care of me, and it is my birthday. I've never taken care of another person, or if I have, it hasn't been at a club, so I didn't know. I was getting a little scared, right? So whatever, I was assisting her, no problem. She kept going to the washroom, I kept taking her, but however, she was getting like quite aggressive, like to the point where, like, if we were walking through a crowd to the washroom, because it was downstairs, she would be like pushing them, like swimming, like pushing them out of the way, and I'd be like behind her holding one of her hands, being like, oh my god, I'm so sorry she pushed you, oh my god, I'm so sorry she pushed you, because I didn't want to get into any scraps or fights with any of the girls there, because that's just not me. I'm not the type of person that likes to look for fights with strangers specifically. So anyways, because I had been taking care of so much of her, I hadn't been like taking care of myself, in the sense that, like, I made sure she would go to the washroom and handle her business and not really handle mine. Like, if I had to pee, I would just kind of not do that. I'd just hold it and wait for her instead, in case she needed me. So basically, eventually I couldn't hold in my yoo-hoo anymore, and I just had to go and, you know, pee or use the washroom, the restroom. And so she was fine when I left her. She was just chilling, dancing. When I came back, my boyfriend literally told me, your best friend just fell. And I was like, what do you mean she fell? Like, how did she fall? And he was like, well, she's been spilling drinks on you, on me, on the floor all night long. Like, she, I guess, dropped too much water on the floor and slipped in it, or just in general fell. And then I was like, oh my god, like, is she okay? He's like, yeah, like, I picked her up, and she got up and she sat down. And I was like, okay, perfect, like, she's good. She's Gucci. So anyways, I go up to her and I kind of see her in this position, and I'm like, oh my god, like, she's so drunk, the bottle's not done yet, like, what are we gonna do? But I asked her, like, do you need anything, do you need any water? She was like, yeah, I'm feeling pretty drunk, can you get me water? So I'm like running around trying to get her some water and things like that. And then once I get her water, right, she just kind of decided that, you know, she's not gonna really dance anymore, she's just gonna chill. And I was like, okay, perfect, she's just gonna chill. So she was just chilling there, and me and my boyfriend would continue to kind of party because we were like, oh my god, like, we can't waste this bottle, we need to keep drinking to finish this bottle because or else it's a waste of money. So we kept drinking and having fun. My best friend was like kind of sitting there, and we never noticed that she was throwing up on the floor, even though we were directly beside her. We just kind of never really looked at her or saw her like bend down or throw up, so we just didn't notice this. However, we did notice that the floor was getting really wet, and we didn't understand what it was because it didn't have a smell or a stench on it. It just had like, just looked like water all spilled on the floor. So we didn't understand what it was, but we just kind of was like, oh, you know, it's just us, we're just spilling drinks on each other, like, it's whatever. However, a few minutes later, my best friend called me over and actually told me and asked me, do I smell like throw up? And then at this point, I was really confused and was like, oh my god, why would you smell like throw up? I didn't take you to the washroom to throw up. Nobody has taken you to throw up. How could you smell like throw up? And she was like, oh, I've been throwing up this whole time underneath our table. And I was like, no, you're joking. She was like, no, I'm not. Like, right there where you're standing, there's literally my throw up. And I was like, oh my god, like, that would explain the water on the floor. And then I slowly started to process this and started to realize that I was actually stepping on her puke in that precise moment. I was stepping on her puke with my heels. So I started to get concerned and was like, oh my god, like, we're about to get kicked out of this club. I asked her, do you want to go home? And she said, no, I'm okay. Like, I don't want to ruin the fun. I don't want to go home yet. I'm okay. And I said, okay, that's perfectly fine. So I continued to, again, drink because, you know, she didn't want me to move her. She didn't want me to do anything. So I continued to drink with my boyfriend. And as I was trying to pour myself a drink, I actually fell. Now, if you understand this story, you'd understand why this is so embarrassing and disgusting and gross. And not at all funny for me. Excuse me. But yes, so I fell. And I did not fall in a place that was dry. I fell literally in the puddle of puke that my best friend had just made on the floor. So it kind of looked like, so what it was I was walking towards the bottle to pour myself another drink, knowing that there's a lot of puke on the floor, trying to be very, very careful. However, heels don't have any bottom, any grip, so if you fall, like, if your leg slips, you're down. So I slipped and fell into her puke, and at this point I was just so upset, so hurt, just because I had so much puke on me, and I could not do anything or say anything at this point except for bawl my eyes out, because I was so humiliated at the fact that I was literally sitting in someone's puke and covered in it. And then I was more humiliated because there was a group of girls near me that actually saw me fall, and they screamed out, "Are you okay?" And I just started crying because I was like, oh my god, great, someone just saw me, you know. So I was so humiliated, and then I picked myself up as best I could and went to cry in a corner, because that's what Andrea does when she's drunk or tipsy or whatever. And I started crying in a corner, and my boyfriend came to console me, like, calm me down, try to get things together. Listen, woman, you're drunk, like, listen, it's an accident. But as we were trying to work things out, we saw a security guard slowly walking towards my friend and was flashlighting her, and we were like, oh my god, like, she's gonna get kicked out. And lo and behold, we did get kicked out. And so she was a hot mess, and I was a hot mess because I was just crying on my way out of the club, because that's never happened to me. I've never been kicked out of a club before, and I've never been kicked out of anywhere, so that was very humiliating for me. Yeah, overall, looking back at it, it was a really fun night, and it was actually really hectic and crazy, just how I had asked for my birthday celebration. I literally asked for a wild, crazy night, and that's what I received. I was a little bummed out about the puke thing, though, because when I got home, I was filled with puke, and my mom was like, why do you have puke on yourself? Like, you're drunk. And I was like, no, my best friend's drunk. This is her puke. And she was like, oh my god, like, take a shower. And at like 4 in the morning, I had to take a cold shower to like get off all that stuff. And like, to say the least, it was gross for me, but then waking up the next day, it was really freaking hilarious, and I did laugh so much just thinking about the fact that that happened. And I was just kind of thinking like, oh my god, of course something like that would happen to me because I have the worst of luck. And yeah, it was a crazy night, and honestly, like, I don't regret it because it was freaking funny. So yeah, I hope you guys all enjoyed this story. I hope in some way this made you laugh. I hope you realize that you need to get heels with grip for my young ladies out there, or men. Yeah, get heels with grip, because you never know when something like this could happen, even though that's literally impossible. But it could happen. Click the bell notification to be notified of when I upload. I don't know what days I'll be uploading quite yet. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a wonderful day. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye. Me gusta lo que han sobrevivido, que conmigo me gusta. Let me know if you guys have heard that song. What is up, YouTube? Andrea here, back with another video. And like my sweater says, Andrea.
And her breath smells.
Please ignore the person in the back because they're just annoying.